Just so you know, today I'm drinking a matcha, which is quite late for a matcha tea. My lovely green matcha with lots of lovely bubbles on the top. Because I think I've just been reading through the group. I've been reading through the group most of today, and then over the last half hour, and I'm feeling quite overwhelmed. Partly because everyone's sharing so much on there today, but also because I want to fix everything. It's an urge that I have all the time, which I want to make it all right, and all the hard bits I want to make easy, and all the struggles that you're having I want you to not have, and all of that stuff. And so I've been feeling quite overwhelmed the last half hour, and so I've got myself a tea because there's something about holding this bowl that's nice and warm between my hands that makes me feel content and less emotional about things. So anyway, I'm gonna have a swig. I am fine. It's just that I don't know. It just comes, those feelings of overwhelmed you'll get all the time, and they just come. And anyway, and I was reading everything, and you're all amazing, by the way. Just so you know this, it's an amazing thing we're all part of. So there's 12 of you here, so I'm going to make a proper start. And so I will look this way now because that's where my notes are, but I am still here. There is still Marmite behind me. I thought I would touch on motivation today because we're getting to a really difficult part of the year where everything is focused around Christmas and excess and drinking. And we talked last week about how you might cope with being rebellious at this time of year. And so I thought that we could touch a little bit on some of the tools around motivation so that you can pull on something more than a rebellious nature to get you through December. There are some actual things that you can do. So firstly, what motivates us as individuals? Well, rebellion motivates me, which you might have noticed. I like the idea that I'm somehow cheating the system, and at the minute the system's all about buying shit. So I bought nothing on Friday, and I got some shoes really cheap from a voucher that I'd got given for doing a workshop. And so I felt I've cheated the system by getting something and not buying when I'm told to buy. I'm also quite rebellious about Christmas generally. And that suits me because that's the sort of person I am. And I like to share that with you. But that is only one of the motivations that I need. And we all as individuals need carrot and stick to help us keep us motivated, and also intrinsic and extrinsic factors to help keep us motivated. So I'm going to go through what some of those are today, and hopefully we can help you find what your things are within those types of motivation. So firstly, carrot or stick, opportunity or threat is another way to look at it. How do those things motivate you? When you give up drinking, we often see things as an absence of something. We see it as an absence of alcohol, and therefore we've taken something away, and it's disaster. We can't do the things that everyone else can do. It's terrible. We have taken this great big thing out of our life. What do we do now? We are denying ourselves self-flagellation, self-flagellation, self-flagellation. We do it all the time. I want you to turn that on your head, and I want you to start thinking as changing your drinking, particularly this time of year, as an opportunity, as a way of finding new things to do, new ways to engage. And I often see that as a big suite of things. It's about my relationships. It's about the places that I go. It's about the money that I have to spend on things, and we can come back onto money again in a minute. It's about connecting with people in a really sustainable and interesting and concentrating way. I'm not sure if I ever shared the fact that I always throughout my life felt I was a people person, which I am. I'm an extrovert, and I am motivated by being in a room with other people. It gives me energy. I get energy from other people. And so I always felt I was a people person. And then in the last 10 years I was drinking, I began to think maybe I'm not, because I don't have the energy to ask people about themselves. I only have enough energy to get myself sat on this stool and keep my eyes open, quite frankly. The thought of concentrating on their conversation and concentrating on questions to ask them, that curiosity that drives human relationships, seemed too much for me. And once I gave up drinking, I realised that I had the energy and the concentration, which I do think is slightly different to energy, but is definitely powered by energy. The concentration to be curious about people again, to ask them questions that created a conversation and an excitement that meant that I drew on other people's energy, which is what keeps me going. So that's been a huge motivator for me. It's the motivator when I have a little wave and a nod at the guy in the tube station who runs the kiosk, when I have a little chat with somebody on the way to the tube, if I help somebody with their pushchair and have a little chat, if I make eye contact with a child on the tube and I blow a raspberry at them when their parents aren't looking. All of those things are really big opportunities for me, and they're things that motivate me and keep me going. And so you may have lots of new opportunities for new things that you're bringing into your life now that you're changing your drinking. And I want you to begin to think about them. They may be small things that you've not thought about before. They may be things that you hadn't realised. Start making a list. They may be things you've not done yet. You know, did you always want to go skiing, or did you always want to sing, or did you always want to do something else? I don't know. Just think about it. Think about what those new opportunities are, because you've taken away something that is basically sapping your energy to do anything that's exciting and new, and you can now replace it with things that are exciting and new. So tell us what that is, what you're going to do. While I swig tea and look at my notes again. Do you want to spend quality time with your partners, with your children? Do you want to spend time with your children when you're not hungover? Do you want to do more exercise? Do you want to drink more water? They can be small things. They can be things aligned to other things you want to do around your health. You know, I don't mind what they are, but start to think about what those opportunities are you've created, because they will keep you motivated over the next month. And you can even think about some things that are particularly Christmas related. You know, did you want to, did you always want to do a burlesque routine with Christmas baubles as your tassels? And did you never have the opportunity to do that before because you're always too hungover? Then now's your chance. Did you always want to dress as Santa? Did you always want to fly to a real German market rather than those sheds that we seem to be putting in our town centres these days? Well, you've probably saved enough money. Go and do it. Go on, go to the market in Bern. Go to the market in somewhere in Germany that I can't think of. Go and do it. So that's cool. I'm just gonna have a look. See, you can do the Santa run, which Mark Roberts is doing. So what are the opportunities that you now have in front of you? Big key motivator. But the other things are the intrinsic versus extrinsic motivators. Now, in extrinsic motivation is about doing something because of what we get from doing it. So things are like saving money, losing weight, feeling more energetic, sleeping better. We get something out of changing our drinking. And again, we may not really have thought about all of those. We might, because it is so overwhelming not doing something that you're used to doing. It's hard to forget that, it's easy to forget that you may be sleeping better. You may be less grumpy with people in your life. You may be less snappy. You may be more patient. You may be more tolerant. You may be all of those things. Just have a little reflect back. Some of you are now hitting nearly a year. Have a think back about what you were like this time last year. The things that you did that upset you about yourself. The things that made you feel guilty. And now think where you are. I'm definitely a lot more relaxed. I'm definitely a lot more, I'm definitely less snappy. But I am actually more emotional. I used to think that, yeah, I drink wine in the evenings because it allows me to release my emotions, which I don't normally do during the day because I'm not that sort of person. And so it allows me to cry and I feel better for crying. Well, guess what, guys? I think it just basically stopped me from crying, and that I now feel my emotions more and I release them when they need to be released, not just after a gallon of wine. And I actually feel better for that. So the fact that, you know, in the last half hour I was reading all of your stuff and just thinking, oh my God, how am I going to make all of this work? How am I going to make Club Soda work? And felt overwhelmed by it. is okay, because I was feeling it in the here and now, and it shows to me that this is important to me, and that therefore my sobriety is worth keeping because it supports everything I want to do with you. And I don't want to go back to the place when the only time I could cry was because I'd had about, 2-3 bottles of wine. So do start thinking through those small little subtle changes, and they may be about money as well. You may have more money in your pocket this Christmas. You may also have more money in your pocket after Christmas. I must say that I always used to run out of money really quickly at Christmas. Not anymore. Last year I spent more in November than I did in December. How fucking proud am I of that? That's like a real a rebellion of Christmas, to spend less in December than you did in November. Anyway, so think about those extrinsic things, and all those things that you can do that are about the benefits. And then there's intrinsic motivation. So intrinsic is about the process and not about the outcome, and about enjoying the process of change. Now, we often have a debate in this group about the fact that alcohol-free people get all a bit giddy and excited, and it seems like they talk more than anyone else. And that's because they're getting something out of that, because they're enjoying the process of change, they're enjoying the feeling of change, they're enjoying learning about change, they're enjoying reading about change, and they're enjoying feeling what it is that we are told this change is about. And ultimately that is a motivator, because we are enjoying the process of learning. Look at all those pictures of alternative drinks that you all put up. That is your process. That's part of the process of changing your drinking, and as part of the process you're enjoying. Finding something new, sharing it, saying it tastes a bit shit or saying it tastes brilliant, getting other people to order it, seeing that people take our cue on the thing that we've discovered throughout this process. Brilliant. You're allowed to enjoy the process of learning. You're allowed to enjoy doing all of that. And it's a carrot that isn't visible to anyone else. It's visible to us. It's that little leap we get in our heart when we've discovered, had one of those little light bulb moments where we realise that actually holding a warm cup of tea is just as really comforting as holding a glass of wine. See? They can motivate you too. So have a little think about what you've enjoyed about this process. You may have enjoyed falling off the wagon, seeing how that felt, and jumping back on it, because boy, that is an amazing feat in itself. So that's fine. Write it down, notch it up, say that's a big plus point for me. So you're allowed to enjoy all of those intrinsic motivations as well. But again, write them down. These will keep you going through the next few months. So let me see what else I've written down. You can also build that sense of intrinsic motivation by developing a greater sense of curiosity. So don't just take my word for it that intrinsic things motivate you. Go off and Google it and have a look yourself. Be a bit more curious about the process you're going through. I often think that the reason why people like Annie Grace's book in our community is because it's got a lot more science. We feel we're learning something. We're not being told what to do. We are learning about that process of alcohol and change and how we change our habits. So you may find that being more curious about what's happening to your body, why alcohol affects you the way it does, is also a key part of it. It's also partly why alcohol-free people who go, it's a poison, why would I put that in my mouth? And that's because we've gone through a process of learning about alcohol and now challenging why we would ever want to do it. So don't beat each other up because we've got different perspectives. It's just that we're enjoying a different part of the process of learning about the process. And we're all different. Different things will work for different people. And that's all okay too. I'm just going to have a little flick through and just see what some of the questions are. She says, hello, hello. Nicola is going to open a yoga studio. You should speak to Nadia. Mark Roberts is doing the Santa run. Sam is going to do a naked bike ride. Honestly, I just feel for the seat of the bike. And getting into a black dress and going to Berlin German markets. Oh, excellent. Perfect. So you've already got some of that sus, but don't forget you're talking about several different things here. You're talking about the opportunities that are opening up for you now that you're not drinking. You are thinking about all those things that you want to have and to do because you now have made time for them because you're no longer drinking. You're also thinking about the real net gains that you get from not drinking. It'll be anything from money to better health. And then you're talking about other things that can motivate you, like learning the process of change and habit change and how this could be applied elsewhere. And that's something that happens inside of you. So they're all key motivators. And you're going to need them this month because the world is not on our side. Well, the Western world anyway, the Christian-y bit of the world that celebrates Christmas, which we're part of. So how else can you maintain your motivation? Well, firstly, remember the reasons why you wanted to stop drinking. Again, this is a time of year where ambivalence can settle in and you can go, well, I've done well so far. Maybe it's not that bad. Maybe I can begin to, drink on 4 nights of the week and not just 2. Maybe I can moderate a little bit. Maybe I'll have a drink at this party. Go back, remind yourself why you're doing this. Think back over your 30 days, your 60 days, even your 4 days and think, what have I gained so far? What have I learned? What are the tools that have really kept me going? Are your reasons for giving up drinking sufficiently motivating? Do you need to relook at them? Because you may have wanted to give up because you were bored of the hangovers and you wanted to lose weight. 6 months down the line, you might think, well, actually, I want to stay this way because of other things, because I've learned something new. So have a little think about that. If not, what reasons, what motivations will now keep you motivated? Do go through and think about what you might need to change about your goal in order to keep you motivated in the longer term. Have you noticed any positive benefits of sticking to your goal so far? Maybe they're the thing that can take you to the next stage and keep you motivated over Christmas. If I give up over Christmas, I would have wasted the whole year that I've given up drinking. If I start drinking over Christmas, then all that hard work, all that discomfort I felt, would have been a waste. So you might not even want to waste the effort you've put in so far. Decide if actually it's the carrot or the stick that motivates you a bit more. Is it about what you're gaining or is it about what you will lose if you start drinking again? I'm very clear, I will lose a huge amount by drinking again, including the credibility I have with all of you, which would be absolutely fucking awful. I have to say. The other thing is, are you more intrinsically or extrinsically motivated? So is it about the money? Is it about the health? Is it about those big, tangible, visible benefits? Or is it about that really deep-seated learning that you're going through that is really giving you that giddy feeling? It may be a mix of all of those. You may need all of them, or you may be strongly impacted by some more than others. Is it just about avoiding booze, or is it that this is part of a larger behaviour change and lifestyle change for you? I get the impression that for most people on Club Soda, this is all about a bigger lifestyle change. We're all realising that we're at a point in life when we need to sort it out because we want to have a long, healthy life. We want to have loving, deep relationships. We want to have wonderful friendships. We want to be able to get up in the morning with a bit of pizzazz. We probably want to hold back time and live to we're 1,000,000 years old. And that's okay, guys. And it's okay that drinking's part of another aligned health goal. It's perfectly fine. And if that motivates you to keep alcohol free, then that's absolutely perfect, because we need to do different things to keep ourselves motivated. And the big question is, will we always need things to keep ourselves motivated? Will this become something we don't really think about anymore? And I talk about that quite a bit because, we talked about hardwiring and whether we can change our hardwiring of the way our brain works and associates with alcohol. And like I said, I still don't think after 4 years it really has changed. It's changed, but it hasn't completely gone. And so I still think that changing my drinking is something that I will need to continually work on, but it gets easier to motivate myself because it's very much clearer to me after 4 years what I would lose, what I've gained, and what I've enjoyed about learning about myself, or not enjoyed. Learning about yourself isn't always fun. Sometimes it's a bit stark, and then it sets you on another journey. But that's okay too. Motivation. You need to keep going. You can do this. You've done loads of it already. There is no reason why you can't get on and get to the goal that you want. And even if you've only done 4 days or 5 days, there is no reason why you can't go further. You have everything you need to do it. You have a community to keep you accountable. You have people to lean on when it's hard. You also have lots of personal inner strengths that are amazing. And so think about the things that do you well in your job and your normal day-to-day that you can employ to help you change your drinking. So everybody, I want you to keep motivated, but I also want you to share some of the things that motivate you, whether they be extrinsic, intrinsic, carrots or sticks. I don't care what they are, but sometimes in sharing what works for you, you might be able to help other people work out what it is that keeps them motivated. So it's always worth sharing even those tiniest little high fives that you've discovered since changing your drinking. Okay, go off and have a great conversation in the group, and I will speak to you next week.